This is the audiobook version of A Little Woman podcast, bringing Jo and Friedrich's story to the modern day. Narrated by Brady and Niina Niskanen.
Hello, Little Woman family. Today's comment shout-out goes to the other art blog who says, "It baffles me how people can deny Jo's and Friedrich's attraction to one another. Quote, a regular German, rather stout, with brown hair, tumbled all over his head, bushy beard, good nose, the kindest eyes I ever saw, and a splendid big voice that does one's ears good after our sharp or slittered American gabble. His clothes were rusty, his hands were large, and he hadn't a really handsome feature on his face, except for the beautiful teeth, yet I liked him, for he had a fine head. His linen was very nice, and he looked like a gentleman. Nobody describes, quote, just a friend like that. She notices his eyes, his hands." It was lust at first sight. I am very excited about today's episode. I have a very special guest with me today, author Brady, who has written a book series called Manchester Sweet Romance, inspired by Little Woman, and we will be talking mainly about the first book in the series called Subscribing to the Enemy, which is a modern retelling of Jo's and Friedrich's love story. Jen contacted me on Instagram when she was writing the series and told me that fan of this podcast and asked if I'd be interested reading her books, and I was like, an entire full romance novel dedicated to Jo and Friedrich. Sign me in. And I really love the book, and I look forward reading the rest of the series. Before we let Jen tell about her book series more in depth, I thought I would share my favorite scene in Subscribing to the Enemy. "Your turn," he announced. "What would you change?" I knew instantly the one thing I'd most want to change about myself, and there was no way I was admitting it to Rick. "I'm not playing that game." I did my best to look bored with the topic as I turned to the computer. "We should get to work." He nudged my arm with his elbow playfully. "Come on, the one thing you'd most like to change about yourself. It doesn't have to be related to film. I'd want to be as pretty as my sisters." Christopher Columbus. I'd said it out loud, throw the private thought out into the universe. And in front of Rick, if I'd been looking away, there was no way I would have been able to meet his eyes. I would have avoided them for the rest of our working session, and maybe for the rest of my life, but I'd been glaring right at him when I'd blurted my secret out, and now I found...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?